Hey guys, Mike Tierney here with Princess Auto. Welcome to Tech Tips with Mike T. Today we're talking about lighting and connectors. When it comes to lighting and connectors, wiring up your trailer, making connections with your tow vehicle, tons and tons of options. We've got a few selection here that we're going to show you today. So we're going to kind of get into the basics of lighting. So in order to tow a vehicle on the road legally, you have to have a minimum of brake lights, running lights, a right turn and a left turn. That typically will situate you with a connector of a four-way system. The connector that you could use is a simple flat style. So we have a flat style blade that has basically 3 male pins and a female pin. This could be going from your trailer to your tow vehicle. As long as your tow vehicle has the right connector, you're good to go. There's another option with a 4-way round. One isn't any better than the other, but your trailer you may be borrowing a trailer and your truck has a 4-way flat and that trailer may have a 4-way round. You just need to get an adapter to adapt down, and those are widely available. So one isn't any better than the other, it's just making them match. When it comes to the lights, so we have a package of lights here. Basically, these are LED lights, so LED, light emitting diode. There are other kits that have incandescent bulbs. Basically, you can use either or. I wouldn't suggest both. Basically, if you're going to replace a light or the full light kit, go with one or the other. The benefit of LEDs are they are super bright, so you can see them from a long ways away. They draw way less power, and they're the new option. A lot of people want LED and integrate it into their system. Keep in mind, when it comes to a kit that would be incandescent, you can't really mix and match. You can, but you got to be very careful on the way they're grounded. So when you're attaching your ground wires, the grounding of an LED versus an incandescent is slightly different. And if you try to wire them in the same, you may get the light to just stay on, or it'll flicker, and it won't operate correctly within the trailer system. So LED or incandescent, one's a lot brighter, but one's more standard, and there's lots of them out there. So when it comes to expanding or getting larger trailers, so as we get heavier trailers, longer trailers, more contractor type trailers with closed in, they get height with them. We have to add a certain amount of equipment. So when we're adding things like clearance marker lights or side marker lights, we have a couple of options here. They're either red or they could be in amber. Either or, basically, they have to be lit. They can't just be a reflector. If they're burnt out, you definitely want to make sure that they're fixed. You will get the DOT giving you some hassles. So whether you're using a side marker light that's red or a side marker light that's amber in color, one or the other. Side marker lights identify the length of a trailer. Clearance marker lights identify the height of a trailer and a width of the trailer, basically. They can be the exact same light, they just call them different names for different applications. So whether you go with LED or incandescent, you just want to make sure that the lights that you're using on the other type of brake lights and running lights, that they're matching, because again, the grounding system can give you some issues. So go with one or the other, don't mix and match. You'll just run into a little bit more problems with that. Now again, as we add the weights of trailers and the type of trailers, if you're stepping up from just a standard utility trailer that just requires that 4-way system, maybe you need a backup system. So we start to get into the components that we would be connecting to our tow vehicle, and we've got kits that, you can wire in a 5-way system. So basically you are going to have 5 pins now versus the 4-way. This allows you to have a backup light system. As trailers get heavier and longer and more capacity, you do have to step that wiring up. Basically, your tow vehicle will have to be set up to handle a 6 and a 7-way lighting system. So this one here is a 7-way. It has a round with spades. Basically, this would be attached to your vehicle, this side, and then you'd have your wiring side from your trailer plug in. Typically, that will now allow you to give trailer brakes and auxiliary power. So if your trailer has to have brakes, you do have to have this system. And quite often, a lot of people will come in and they're in a panic and I borrowed a friend's trailer for the weekend, and I've got a truck that only has a 4-way system, but their trailer requires a 5, 6, 7-way. So maybe it's a larger RV, and you're going to go camping for the weekend. You really can't get blood from a stone. If your tow vehicle is only set up for a 4-way, that's what you may have at the back of your vehicle, and you try to magically try to get a connector or an adapter to go to a 7-way, those pretty much don't exist. There are a couple kits that you'd have the wiring pack available and you'd have to go and do some wiring, but that can be very difficult on a tow vehicle on a whim. The colorations of the wires from the connectors, they're pretty standard on trailers. They are by no means standard on tow vehicles. So every vehicle out there has a different wiring harness. Even half model years change the wiring harnesses through the same manufacturing. So you really do need to go and do some research, find out if there's a quick connect that you can put into the back of your vehicle so that it would allow you to go to that 7-way. But right from 4-way to 7-way, if you require those brakes, that 4-way on your tow vehicle would not allow you to do that. So you just got to be mindful that some applications can be stepped down. If you've got a 7-way on your tow vehicle, you can step that all the way down to 4-way. But you can't go the other way if you don't have the capacity and the equipment within the vehicle to send that signal to your tow trailer. So keep that in mind. Now, when it comes to trailers that start to get really wide, Transport Canada released some updates a few years ago that when trailers are over a certain size, they need to have a 3 light bar, whether it's a black style like this with 3 red lenses, or it could be chrome. That's all depending on how you want to trick your trailer out. Basically, you need this to be in the center of the trailer, and typically anything that's over 80 inches wide now and or to a certain weight capacity, you do need to have this light bar. So if you're building a trailer, typically keep in mind the sizing. You may need to want to purchase one of these so that you can have a legal transportation on the road. So always check your local transportation when it comes to your transportation laws when it comes to wiring and what wires need or what lighting needs to be with what wiring systems, and then what lighting needs to be with that type of trailer, because that's that's super important. And more and more they're starting to really crack down on those systems. So make sure that you have one of these if your trailer's fairly wide. When it comes to the rest of the lights, if you want to light it up like a Christmas tree, feel free, but you got to make sure that those are all lit. If you do have one out, you can get warnings or tickets based on that you do not have a bulb or the bulb's burnt out, depending on how strict they are around your locations. When it comes to the wiring side, again, we get all kinds of requests like do you have this wiring kit for my 89 Chevy. Well, there's so many different models out there that it's impossible to, for us to have all of those on hand. We do have a few, kind of the more common styles, but we definitely, you'll have to kind of do some research. There's lots of, catalogs out there that you can, look into and do some cross references. The wiring is getting pretty crazy these days when it comes to some of these new vehicles, and they've even got some computers going on in the background there that are in the backside of the vehicles, not just your main computer for your vehicle. So getting these wires, messed up or misaligned or misconnected can have some issues when it comes to connections. So a couple of tips if you're using a trailer that's, say, a boat trailer, and you're backing that in. Wiring wears out. It's rattling around in a lot of cases, is exposed to elements. It's in and out of moisture all the time when it's raining, or if you're backing a boat into the water. It's a good idea to disconnect, if possible, your connector from your tow vehicle when you back into the water, because if you've got a short somewhere, that can actually cause a system issue when it comes to maybe blowing a fuse. I've seen people dead at the boat ramp because they've fried their actual system on their tow vehicle because of their wiring getting wet, and that having some sort of short. So if you just disconnect the trailer from the trailer wiring harness from the tow vehicle, that eliminates that issue. It's different if you've got electronic brakes and that, but definitely if it's just a standard four-way system, just disconnect them and then back in and then pull out and then reconnect them. It just allows you to have that non-surge of a short. Thanks for tuning in to Tech Tips with Mike T. See you next time.